Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
I first want to apologize first and foremost for the little delay. Yes, but of course we are here, and today is going to be a very, very special one in this regard, because we are here to commemorate 40 years of the AYF Band. But of course we shall be able to understand, if in case you don't know the AYF Band, what it is and how long it has been here. Of course it is 40 years, but how has the journey been like? And now here with me I have strong people to tell us about this journey, but also it will be elaborated through actions, not just speaking like you can already be seeing here. So at my extreme end is Mr. Joel Andrew Lumbuye, and he is the team lead of AYF Band. Of course, just like I told you, you're going to be understanding what AYF Band is, and of course he will be taking us through that. But also here, the man with the guitar is Mr. Kasamba, and I happened to interact before we came here. He has a lot to do really. He wants to pass on something, and I guess that legacy will not be left if the son already has the name, right? Yeah. So trust me, the name will be continuing in that regard. Well, so this is the AYF Band, but before we even do anything, you're already seeing the system is saying. So why don't you first feel before you get to listen to what the AYF Band is? Wow. What does it take to join?
Oh, coming and talking to us about it.
All right. Wow.
Verse, then we find where you fit in the ministry. And everybody has a different calling. It's not just singing. Okay. Sometimes it's sharing, sometimes it's talking. By the time you see the choir on stage, 90% of the work is done.
Wow. So there's a lot in the ministry.
It's so much. It's a lifestyle. It's a life. You share out of who you are. By the time a bit of it is spilling into song, so much. So much seed in the ground, water on it as well.
Wow. Let's have an introduction about the AYF Band.
Well, AYF stands for the Anglican Youth Fellowship Band or choir. Where Peter mentioned, it starts from the fact that we are on stage, and much of it is around the fellowship aspect. Before 1984, around 83 into there, gentleman called the provincial department of the Church of Uganda, under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit and others, started the work of this group. And with a group of 12 young people in, most of them campus the few non-campusers like
I was the only O-level student at then time who received the first letters to join this first. It was just for me.
So we come together with the purpose of spreading the gospel, improving praise and worship in the church of Uganda there. The stories we know, maybe we are not here for that. But we are doing more ancient and modern. You know, the style of worship in church was different. So the group was formed to improve worship in the church, spread the gospel, evangelism, among many other things. And since '84, it's been on the road. Now, fellowship. AYF doesn't exist without fellowship, and many have been asking, how have you stood for all this time? That's what is fellowship. All of us, first of all, gave our lives to Christ. We are committed Christians, but the fellowship is the one that makes me know Peter. Before you get on stage, you know who you are, and you know what's going on about you or around you, and then you can be able to share the word of God and the gospel and the message that you have to the rest. Peter can build on since he was at the beginning.
Yeah, at the time, the Anglican church was very traditional. We didn't have guitars in the church, and many churches didn't have any instrument at all. When you go up north, if they had instruments, they were traditional instruments, which were good, but also the attitude towards anything rhythmical and happy and dancey in church was just, the belief was that dance and celebration was of the devil. It belonged to the drinking places. Of course, a lot of traditional instruments were also associated with traditional worship, and some of our parents had witnessed that. So when they became Christians, there was the extreme turning away. And the hymns were slow. So slowness and boredom was associated with godliness. But then the young people that were coming up were not in contact with the same attitude, the same trend of thought. And they were finding church dead, boring, the long prayer books, the slow hymns, and they started streaming out of the church. So it was thought, let's start something that can associate with these young people. And so that was when Uncle Ben and a group of others, they say it was in a conference in Gayaza, that they made the decision. So I remember I was just completing my senior 4 when I received this headed letter signed by then the late Archbishop Yona Okoth. Each of us received a formal Church of Uganda letter. By that time, I hadn't had my name officially typed or signed in that way. So I don't know where that letter is. It will be somewhere in my pile of things. But that's 40 years ago. And then we met together. The first meeting was in All Saints in the church hall there, which is now the kindergarten. I remember people like Uncle Ben, Bishop Hannington Mutevi was one of us. People like Lillian, like Charles Yuma, people who, Christine Chintu. There was a doctor now who is living in the U.S., Medical Mviru. There was Stephen Kasamba. There was Ben Twinamani, yes. Abraham Owino, who was the leader then. And we had this new set of equipment, and we made horrible noise out of it because we were not experienced. And it was difficult for us, but was still, the church found us offensive. Many churches did not want anything to do with us. But as we learned and polished what we were doing, we also drew a lot of attention from the young people. They focused on us, and they were loving it, and they were following us up everywhere we went. And that was the beginning.
Wow. You have impacted so many lives.
Yes.
Is there some memorable moment or milestone you feel that this one has, okay, this is something that we are really proud of?
To start it off, every time, every ministry is a milestone in its own way. Actually, for us, it's not to say Luke changed, Peter changed, but it's like we've got opportunities and we've gone to share our lives, to share our faith, to share what God has done in our lives. And for me as an individual, the greatest milestone is accessing places that not everyone can access and talk about Christ. When we've traveled out of the country, with all that we hear that happen in the Western world, in the schools, whether it's in the US or in the UK, AYF has access because of the way we do our ministry. In Uganda, for the last 40 years, we've moved almost in all the areas of Uganda. To the west, going to Arua, going to Moroto, going to, all these places which many other ministering groups have not accessed, and that is one of the richness of the Church of Uganda. Yes. We spread out in every diocese over the years. So for me, it may not be one individual, because I've been in so many instances. Why do they become milestone? Most times we've gone when we are not sure. We've relied on God, we've prayed, been times of fasting, prepared so much, and then we've relied on God. So that gives me this feel to say, yes, God has helped us do that. But we know that when we meet other people, they tell us, you came to my school, and I gave my life to Christ when you came to my school 30 years ago. You were at a conference and you ministered. Now we get that feedback from people, but from us, the perspective is not who gets saved or who did what, but what opportunities that God has given us.
Actually, when you mentioned that, I remember some events that gave us a turnaround. Because when the church formed us, suddenly Abraham was this visionary who said, and in those days things were very unpredictable. You could hardly plan for 1 year. He said we need to have a 6 months plan, a 1 year plan, and a 10-year plan. We thought 10 years, whoever lives that long? In the 80s everybody had AIDS and there was war and all of that stuff. Then when he started that, the other thing was people were forming bands so they can travel to Nairobi, to the US. And the vision of AYF was upside down. Let's go up country to the difficult places. And the first stopover was to be Mbarara, Kabale, Bushenyi. Now this mission was very, very difficult. At about that time, the church told us, we don't have a budget for the amount of work you want to do. But you're welcome, you have our blessing to do whatever you can, if you can find your own way. And that was supposed to be a big challenge to us. But again, as we prayed, I remember one special event before I talk of the Kabale and Mbarara. There was one diocese we were going to in the Western Uganda where we got a clear letter telling us, don't come. We don't have the budget, we don't have the allocation, and on top of that, we are being disturbed by preachers preaching all sorts of stuff. We need to first digest it. Actually, in the bishop's words, the diocese is suffering from spiritual constipation. We need to first sort it out. And that was way, way back, very many years. But as we prayed, God told us, you must go. And when you're young, you hear God and you're like a crazy person. So we set up, and we had one-way transport on that trip. So we traveled the whole day. Journey was difficult, roads were bad. We got there in the night, only to be told we don't have accommodation for you, we don't have food, we don't have a program. In that place, there was one clergyman who ran the town church. And he said, oh, I need you though, if you can endure sleeping on the floor, the girls in one room, the boys in one room, I'll just borrow some mattresses and throw them on, and you'll pile yourselves on it, and I'll boil some matoke with salt, and the next day you sing and minister to the market that gathers on a Saturday. So that's what happened. But what God did in the market was the first turnaround. Because we set up that day, we started, and the crowds gathered in the thousands. Then when we make the altar call, the response was so big that they couldn't fit in the church that was just outside the market. And even as we finished the counseling and praying for people, the message came from the bishop that I now have space for you in the guest house. And I have a pickup truck, which by then was very posh. By the way, we used to travel on Tata lorries, on tractors loaded with stones. We just waylay them and please take us to Chibubura Girls or take us to Chigezi High, and we negotiate and they'll divert, and we lift our equipment off and do ministry while we're wondering how we'll go to the next school. So that week we did so much ministry. Thousands of people got to know the Lord. People invited us to feed us in their homes. By the time we're coming back, we had more transport money to return. But also what we got to learn was the local way of praise and worship among the Westerners. They come to an altar called stampeding, jumping and kicking the ground. And the joy in it was different from the one in Kampala. We fell in love with local Ugandan music, which became one of our identities, the turnaround that makes AYF different from most bands that focus to America for inspiration. We tend to focus locally.
It's a journey. It's a journey worth celebrating.
Yes.
And now, looking at the ministry you're doing, I understand music is a pillar.
Oh yes.
Yes. How do you choose these songs? How do you make sure this is going to target all these people and they will enjoy it?
Before the selection of songs, it's the making of the songs. God has blessed the members with an ability to write songs. Most of the songs that we sing are written by the members. Yes, of course, once in a while you pick up a few songs from here and there to suit what is going on. But it starts from the workshopping of the songs, the writing of the songs. We come together to agree on how the patterns are going to be, the musicality and all those things that are involved, which enriches the different songs. Like, I mean, we just sang Seasons Come and Seasons Go, and it's gone through a bit of workshopping to get to where it is at the moment. And then we work around where we are going. There are certain songs that are appropriate for school ministry. There are those he's talked about.
Making melodies in my heart, making melodies in my heart, making melodies in my heart to the King of Kings.
Now that one,
Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, Pharaoh, let my people go. Yeah, 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 again. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, Pharaoh, let my people go. Ooh, yeah. Now Pharaoh was holding the children of God. He treated them unkindly and he made them work too hard. No food for the hungry and no medicine for the sick. Now God looked down from heaven and said, hey Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, Pharaoh, let my people go. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
so when you go now, we've come from the little ones. You don't sing a heavy song to a child or to the teenagers. The communication, they must be able to relate with what's going on. So the choice of songs depends on where you're going. It depends on the themes, because we are also cognizant of what's going on in the area. There are times when it's us who have organized everything, we know what we want. And then of course, with all the many songs we have, you have to keep choosing from here and there. And of course our readiness to share in the different songs, because when you're not ready, you can't sing a song you're not ready to sing.
We have a cross-section of personalities in the group. That's why I was saying a place for ministry is very wide, because when you stand before a crowd, everybody in the crowd has a different need. Some are very mellow, they love a tuneful harmony, soft, non-disturbing, and some are rugged and rough. Young men who prefer their hair to look like they've been hit by lightning. And the music resembles them. And you got to be able to meet the needs of all of these people. And over the years we have learned that music is only a language of a generation. You can hear some music and label it as sinful, but you need to hear the heart it's coming from, and the content, the composition of it. Because some people listen to people from where I come from in northern Uganda. When we're discussing, you could think we're having a quarrel, because our words are short for 3 letters, and so they sound like little sparks. And then you hear the Mutoro disagreeing with you, and they seem like they're really loving you, isn't it? Because the language is gentle, and it goes up and down the hills. So in the same way, the different personalities bring with them their giftings and their characters and what they're able to put forward in way of song, in what they're sharing. So if you make use of all these talents across, what you have is a very rich ministry. You get to reach across a cross-section of people. You find people have been in a congregation and each one is going and they've received a totally different thing from the other. And then of course also you're aware of the changing trends. There was a time we were forced to write a song, sort of raga-ish. He took my burden, then I gave him my hand. He got more power than the young men do. When I listened to him, I said, this must be the man. He got more wisdom than the old men do. You know, defended brother from above, he loved you. And he loved me, and he loved everybody sitting. From every culture to every nation, one in spirit or one in body. Come every boy and every girl and every man or woman, reading the word of the Lord day and night. Them are tall and them are strong and them are never weak, ever ready to fight the devil. You know they know one way to the Father. And they come never returning to the land of destruction. Them are bubbling over with the love and so on and so forth. So
now you compare that with Sirina Mukwano Ngoyo Yesu, Sirina Njagala Ngoyo Yesu, Sirina Nkuma Ngoyo Yesu, Oyo Yesu ye Mukwano Bwange, Sirina Mukwano Ngoyo Yesu. Sirina Njagala Ngoyo Yesu, Sirina Nkuma Ngoyo Yesu, Oyo Yesu ye mukwano gwange. Same congregation, different composition, different
time, different cultures.
So you get all that on a given time, at a given time, any program.
I'm already answered on relevance. How you're able to maintain the relevance? I think I'm already answered on that.
I think over the years, AYF went in and out of fashion many times. At times you realize that things have changed and you're still here. And sometimes they go around and come back to you because fashions change. And then I also got to realize fashion changes to something because that is the attractive thing at the moment. If yours is still good and catchy, it stays, it doesn't go. And so impact is one of the ways to be in fashion.
Have we encountered challenges throughout the journey?
We are human beings. We are prone to fault. We are prone to sin. We are prone to any challenge any other person can have. So first, as individuals, we sometimes have our own difficulties. So that's like any other person anywhere. What has happened is that maybe the fallback position has been taking it back to God in prayer and talking through it as fellowship and handle ourselves. So I start from there, and that's why fellowship for me, I keep saying, has been one of the most important things that has blessed AYF, because some people, when they get difficulties as individuals, they run out of the group. But also, he's talked about where we started from, the equipment. Of course, there are challenges, administrative challenges, finances, having all these, and then of course, it's started by the challenge. Some places don't want you there, but then you go there because you're led to go there. So we've had them, but more so could be we've gotten back to God, and He's helped us, and we've helped each other as individuals. When I'm broke, Peter comes in to rescue me. When he's broke, I come in to rescue.
I can't be fully broke when someone has money.
So and that's what strengthens a fellowship among us, because any institution can have challenge. He's talked about sometimes when we looked like we are not on fashion. You know, someone said, you know, AYF is singing the old songs, but now they are saying those are the songs that we need because the words have not changed, the message is still that important. I think
this particular will be very point blank, and I think I need to share this so that anybody out there doing ministry can know that it's all right to have a total flop. You see, when AYF was first formed, it took just a number of, maybe 2 years before we were burning like grass, you know. We had the guitars, we had composed original songs, we had, and by then there were no bands, so we were like the tip of the iceberg, you know, the top of the mountain, as it were. So everybody was talking about us. And so we did the concert, which we thought would be the ultimate. Those days, Makerere University main hall was the greatest. Watoto was not there yet. All these other churches did not exist. Namirembe Cathedral was the other sanctuary. But Makerere was the place where the educated, the affluent, the modern were. So the concert was set for Makerere main hall. And that day, all we could see in our heads were superstars going on stage. So we were not prepared for anything opposite. We set up, we did our sound, and it happened to be the final term of the year when students are doing exams and they don't have time for nonsense. So if things go wrong, they walk out on you. And as God would have it, that was what was spared for us in that night. So we start the program, and I remember Abraham, there was some, are you in the ark or are we outside? Never hesitate, it will be too late, the door will be shut. And you know, the song was magical and everything came to life. And as we're going on to the third verse, the hall was packed, the lights were on, we had a noise, psh, and we saw smoke rising from the combo, the bass guitar combo, and all the bass noises were gone. We had this, too late, shallow sounds only, and confusion begins. And one of our members, wanting to check, trips over a number of microphone lines and brings the microphone stands crashing down with the drumming noise, and that throws everything into confusion. From that time on, people were singing off key, or not knowing when to start. And the more mistakes we made, the more we made again. People started walking out. And we used to have our man who was supposed to be the one who could move any crowd. He was supposed to be the comedian, the MC. He was called to rescue the situation. He flopped very, very badly. And at a certain point he says, where are you going? We still have a lot more good stuff. And people hearing saying, oh, we can't have any more of this. The rest of the crowd walked out. I tell you, that day we packed up equipment, seeing darkness. You were picking a guitar, you're picking microphone. I think the concert hardly lasted 30 minutes. It was meant to last 2 hours.
How do you recover from that?
That was a good landmark. It was one of the best things that happened to us, because it brought us to humility. After that, Abraham, who was our leader, if there's a wound, he would stare into it, says, now, let's collect all the negative comments from anybody who was there. And they were not kind. Apart from their flashy instruments, there was nothing spectacular about them. They're eating their words like they came hungry. There was no coordination. They were dressed. All the comments came in, and we sat and read them one by one. And you know, each of those comments we read depressed us. So we went again to recover for 2 weeks. Then we came back and said, now let's work on those negatives. Practice like you don't pray, and pray like you don't practice. Remember every word, coordinate what you're wearing, bear a humble and yet firm, strong personality. Have joy, but be aware of all the different things. Work out at all the possible failing scenarios. The next concert to that, we're very humble, and we were aware that God was in control, and it was so powerful. And when people came to hug us, would say, just worship God, thank God, because we had realized what it can be when you go by yourself and you're let down. And that marked the beginning of us being aware that we are fallible, we are not perfect. And it was a very depressing and humbling, but one of the most empowering experiences. The year was about 1986.
It's quite some time. So, as we now look forward to the celebration over this weekend, how is this day prepared? what should someone out there expect when they come for the 40-year celebration?
I invite you to come and worship God. Come and give thanks to God and celebrate. We want to first of all appreciate All Saints Cathedral for giving us the place to be. It's a new sanctuary. It's 5,000 to 6,000 seater.
It's fabulous. It's like one you haven't seen before.
We would love people to come and feel it.
Yes.
Cross generation. One of the other things, we were at a function and I would name the person. It was the PS Minister of Education, and she says she loves this cross generation choir because Peter was singing and his son was playing bass. Abraham, the first team leader, wasn't present, but his baby daughter, who is at campus, led a song. I was there, my daughter was. So she's like, this is one band that she has seen where it's not just the matures by themselves. It's a mix of people coming on. So preparation, you're going to find those who were there in 1984 and those who
those who want time travel, it will be there.
So those who were there in 1984 on stage and those who joined, who are our children, in 2024. So 40 years experience. We're trying to go through so many songs and we've left some part of the concert for you to choose the song you want.
That you haven't heard for 30, 40 years.
You would have not heard that song for but you're going to say, I want this song. We are preparing ourselves so that when you point out any song, we are able to do something about it because everyone has a different attachment to AYF. I met someone who says, if you don't sing this song, that wouldn't be a concert for me. Now I keep putting every song they mention on the list so that as we go through the preparations. But above all that, we are also spending time seeking God from what he shared.
Yes.
At 40 years, you could go there and what happened in the second year of existence happens again. So we've thought of having time to spend time with God, seeking him and praying and putting so many things into considerations. But we also want to be happy. So doing anything possible.
Celebration.
So we celebrate.
Happy free time. We want to be like family. You know, not like celebs on stage and crowds here. But it's like, it would be great, like many times I've experienced it, like the one on stage is your personal friend. And I want to see my brother who I didn't see 30 years ago in the crowd and be able to go and shake their hands. So in my mind, I visualize a reunion of people across the generations. People who come will see. By the way, if there's someone you haven't seen in the last 20 years, come. They will be there. You'll be greeting them. There will be a lot of hugging. There will be celebration. There will be a journey through the years in song, and there will be a journey around Uganda in song. You sing something from Buganda, from Busoga, from the east all the way up to the north and west, you know, that sort of thing. So there will be using seats is optional. You can sit and listen for intense moments, and then there are times for each taguriro and Laraka and Mielagwara, all of it will be there. Those are three different cultures I've mentioned.
And there will be opportunity for some people to share their testimony, how AYF impacted them, both local and international. So someone told me, are you able to put all that in those few hours? Because it looks like there's a lot you have to we will try what we can.
What time is it starting?
It starts at 3 p.m. We invite you by 3 p.m. if you're at All Saints Cathedral, the new sanctuary. It's 3 to 6. Well, 3 hours just to.
Well, if the crowd really wants, there could be an extension.
We will try a little bit, knowing that Monday to get to work, and we have people who are coming from outside Kampala. But like you said, celebration is celebration, and 40 years is quite a milestone. So we are trying our level best to put in as much as possible. And all that is to give thanks to God collectively. God has been faithful. One of our tag has been, "Oh, magnify the Lord for the last 40 years," and indeed.
I mean, when AYF was forming, Pastor Gary Skinner and Marilyn were just starting a small fellowship, a 40 people. In a big hotel, in Grand Imperial. I remember going to attend that fellowship as well. And those days, the body of believers was so small, we knew everybody. When they were doing Greater Kampala Mission, all those people, including Servada, Kayanja, they were all involved, the all young pastors beginning. And it's amazing to see the years. So it's a celebration of each other. It's a celebration of a landmark. A lot of things that God has done in every sphere of his ministry in Kampala. So to me, I see a moment of celebration and a moment of recommission, and then it's not we are not celebrating an end. We're going to stand on the hill and see what next God has for us.
And one of them, as we give thanks, not only for all saints but for Family TV, for the last 1 year and a few months, we've had this partnership that was established just out of the COVID era, and that AYF in Worship program, and on that day we are also going to launch formally our partnership.
Oh wow!
So that the whole world will know that AYF and Family TV have a relationship, and also it's an opportunity for them to know how they can chip in to support some of the activities. So I think that will make you smile.
Very much.
It's good to know that the concert is free.
Oh, absolutely.
Just come with a love offering, come with a big heart to support the ministry, but come with anybody. You're all coming, and come as you are.
He talks of free. Actually, someone was asking me, why don't you ask for people to pay? We used to ask people to pay for our concerts, but we learned that give freely. God has given you freely, and whenever we have a love offering, we get more than what we used to get when we put a fee for a concert, and the logistics and everything, and we are stressed. Like what you talked about, by the time you go to Makere Hall, you've paid for the hall and all these things, and you are counting on people to come. Now, what has happened? When we learned our lessons, AYF doesn't charge. We don't ever charge even for any. Maybe that's another secret that is not public. We go and minister and go back. Now, some of our other people, before they go, they ask how much I pay to pay. For us, that's not, because that's not our field of expertise. God has blessed.
And God meets our needs. We have even managed to go abroad this year with our own ticketing this last year. And we're realizing God can send you to places. Just be faithful. Don't focus on the material things. Just go into what God is sending you to do. We tried it with Kampala, we tried it with West, East and North. There are some people who will never afford your ministry because they're too poor. One day we're ministering in a place somewhere deep in the middle of, I don't remember, West Nile. And a lady came with her walking stick. She gave me a big hug, old lady. And she says, I just must bless the man of God. And she pressed in my hand 200 shilling coins. And I wanted to push it back into her hand. Then I felt the Spirit of God tell me, receive it so that she can have her blessing. Find another way to bless her. Reach out to her because you have much more in your pocket than the two that but she has given you out of her heart. And let her spirit be affirmed for being able to release what is in her hands. And then we work within the group and meet her need.
Wow, that's interesting. I am going to bargain with the administration and steal a minute just for an outro. If you can give me one interesting song as we wind up, because time has really gone, I'll be so glad.
Do you have a song that you want us to do? Any AYF song then?
I'll be glad to be entertained.
Wake up everyone, for the morning is coming soon. Ooh, wake up everyone, for soon we're gonna see the King. In a little moment the sun will go down and the Son of God will shine instead. moment will I see sunshine, and troubles will all be gone, be gone. In a moment will I kneel down at his feet and receive the golden crown on my head. Ooh, wake up everyone, for the morning is coming soon. Wake up everyone, for soon we're gonna see the King. Well done. In a moment will I see sunshine, and my troubles will all be gone. Anyonga, 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 ha ha ha. Anyonga, 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 anyonga. Anyonga binegua, wabiwero kumutoro kwama. Anyonga binegua, wabiwero kumutoro kwama. Happiness shall fill our hearts, or we shall lift up a song of praise, a song of praise. Yeah, 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 we shall lift up a song of praise. We're gonna rise way up in the sky. Oh, 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 we shall lift up a song of praise.
I guess that's enough invitation for you to join in on Sunday at exactly 3 p.m. All Saints Cathedral New Sanctuary. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the AYF Band. Very interesting. You don't want to miss this and more. Actually, this is not even a portion. You want to have much of this, please join in on Sunday. We cannot go past this. My name is Luke Majumba Naitwe, and we are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. Please have a lovely day.
Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe.